Guys, I can't believe it, all right? Just got done watching Pop the Balloon or Find Love, the Netflix version. They're up to episode 2 right now, and they have drastically improved the product. First and foremost, shout out to y'all. Give yourselves a round of applause because through your critiques, through your criticism and commenting on these videos, the production team obviously took a look at all of the different recommendations that people were making, and they have instituted some of those things, all right? So I want to get into this discussion. Let me actually just pop it up here on the screen. And I want to give you guys my TLDR, my too long didn't read, just in case you don't see what it is that happened within it. And then I want to go frame by frame during some portions of the show in order to give you a breakdown, all right? But I will say, just in the beginning to start out, is that if you didn't like the first episode of Pop the Balloon, trust me, I didn't like that ish either. I thought it was bogus, like the gentrified version of Pop the Balloon with like reality TV stars, all right? It has significantly changed. Now, the TLDR, and I got some notes here, so let me reference some of these things right here so I'm not all over the place. The first thing that I wanted to mention is that I was wrong in saying this last week, all right? Last week I said that I think that they're always gonna have female audiences, but look at right here. Obviously, they have a male audience, or a male panel rather, right here. Now, let's go down the line. Again, the production is still in here, right? I'm going to take a guess and say, especially when you listen to some of the personalities of these young men, is that they're being dressed by a stylist of some sort in order to fit a certain image profile. But I would guess that some of these men are not dressing like this within their daily lives, all right? Now, within that being said, we're starting from left to right. We got Billy the dog walker down up over here. We got Kenny the Igbo. I think he said he's in the Igbo tribe or something like that, and actually had a battle with the first lovely contestant. I believe she said she was in the Unkr tribe or some shit like that. I don't know. They had some type of battle. If you watch it, you guys can tell me. You had Eduardo up over here. You had Chico No Barge. We're going to get back into the host here in a quick second. You had Tyrone. His name's not Tyrone. His name is actually Cinco. I remember his name because it's such an odd name. Cinco, model, actor. We're going to get into him a little bit more in the future. You had Mullet over here. And let me talk about Mullet over here. I believe his name was Dylan, and the other short king, Billy. What you're gonna watch through the length of this show is two short kings with wildly different personalities. And because this brother had a forward, confident, funny, jovial personality, he ended up winning in the end. But nevertheless, I'm getting ahead of myself. Then we had Oscar over here, and then Flight School. I remember that because he said he's in flight school. Now, before we get into the first contestant, I do want to talk about the host here. One of my biggest critiques of this show is how overly produced that it felt, and a degree of that overproduction was just too much from the host herself. She was too much of a part of it. There was too many jokes, too long of jokes. She was still in the limelight. She had most of the talking points in comparison to any of the other daters that are trying to get to know each other up there. I will say, she heard that feedback and she absolutely turned it down. Similar to the Pop the Balloon up on Arlette's channel. What did I say? Arlette is more like a fixture on the show, but she's not the main point, the main star. She plays in the background. She plays her role correctly, but she's not the star. I would say if her star level, Yvonne's star level on this show was like an 8 out of 10 on the last one, I would say she cut it in half to about a 4 out of 10. So Yvonne, good job taking constructive criticism and turning that shit down. I will also say that the show is nowhere near as noisy as the episode 1. The episode 1, it felt like there was damn fireworks going across, people talking over each other. I would say that they turned down all of the bullshit so you could actually listen to and hear the people as they talk. I think that's a great move from an audio perspective. Although they still had no Instagrams or no social media for any of the contestants, it is my recommendation that they change that. Actually, in the first episode, I went back later. I have a friend of mine that actually knew one of the girls up on the show, and she was like, "Oh my God, that's my friend." I said, "Word, send me that Instagram profile." She sent me the IG photo. So if you look at the thumbnail in the last video, that's where I got that from. By the way, my friend that knew one of the girls up on the show said that girl never used to act like that. Went off to LA, and all of a sudden now she's taking half naked bikini photos and throwing it on the gram. Look what Hollywood be doing to these lovely young ladies. ladies. Nevertheless, let's go through some of the frames right here. So let's start back at the beginning of the show. There was the introduction, and you'll see there's not another handoff from Arlette or BM. At this particular junction, they just play in the background. All right. And they just got straight up into it. Well, I will also say is that they seem to have coined a new terminology, like a new word, a new phrase. And that phrase is pop it or lock it. Now, I will say it rhymes. It's a bar. And I like it. I like the way that it was used throughout the show. So they kept saying, are the contestants gonna pop it or lock it? I liked it. I thought it was a smooth thing to gain, to hold attention to the audience, a fixture that we can always come back to, all right? Anyway, let's get down to the first contestant. Now, the first lovely young lady that came down, I do not remember her name, but we're going to call her Dentist because she said that she's studying to be a dentist. Now, I will say is that the majority of the contestants kept their balloons for her, at least initially. And the show started off real slow. It was a question of like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And they went up and down the line of all of the guys. It took damn forever. About 10 minutes into the show, some of the dudes just started to pop for like one reason or another that's just not important. And as I mentioned earlier, there was an odd back and forth between this brother and the young lady in terms of the tribes that they belong to. And I thought that this guy was gonna pop because the way that she was phrasing it was such that she had an ick about the tribe that he was a part of. Like, oh, I heard something on social media about you being a part of the Ooh tribe or some shit like that. I was like, ew, get to know the guy. Stop your modern woman bullshit and creating all of these icks and shit before you get to know the human being, okay? So then inevitably, we just had Dog Walker Billy, Igdu, and Chico. She goes over and pops poor little Billy. She brings up Chico and Igdu. She eventually pops Chico's. And then shit got good. In modern woman fashion, she asked a stupid question. Okay, let me set it up for you. She said in the beginning that, of course, like, I'm God-fearing. Faith is a very important part of my life. And then had the nerve to ask this brother, whose faith, he said, also was a very important part of his life, what's your horoscope? Huh? What in the idolatry is going on here? How are you giving credence to false prophets or false gods? Isn't that in the Bible that you should never do that, you heretic?
We don't do that here.
So my brother Igbu up here recognized the hypocrisy and said, nah, I ain't doing this shit. Pop, get her out of here. And for that, we salute you. So then she left, and then next up, oh yeah, I forgot about this section. So remember how before I said that the stagehand crew was like a part of the show back in episode 1? You'd see them come off, sweep up balloons, give balloons to the contestants. Apparently they nixed that. They saw that it was absolutely of no value, added to some of the confusion. And instead, it looked like they had like these pre-recorded sessions where this guy, I don't know, let's just describe him as the love doctor, would come in and give like this like odd kind of suggestion speech, trying to set the mood. I have no idea what the purpose and the reason for this. You can still, that they're still trying to figure out what to do while they clean up the balloons and shit like that. It was goddamn odd. All right. So anyway, we had the next contestant come up, and it is a tall milk of magnesia. Now, I will say she's more like Mylanta because she's like 33 years old or something like that, right? Now, what's interesting is that she came out. Now, this is a career-oriented woman, which is interesting because you don't wear this shit in professional spaces, not never, right? Like, there's about 1.5 centimeters before you can see the bottom of the clitoris. Nevertheless, what was interesting about her is that she came in and essentially she said that I have built a career and now I'm looking for a man to settle me down. And she says specifically to bring me into my feminine energy. That's the point where I took my remote and I threw it across the goddamn room. I wish they should, you know what, instead of that Love Doctor Netflix, send me a goddamn email. Put me in the middle of the shit so I can diagnose, I can commentate, make the shit entertaining as a motherfucker. Nevertheless, she says she wanted the feminine energy. Now, the first guy up popped her because she was showing so much of her legs. My flight attendant brother wasn't messing with it whatsoever, all right? You keep the legs for private for me, baby girl. I don't want you to put it out into the streets like that. Who you dating? The streets of me. With my Lanta, these dudes were wasting no time in popping their balloons. They started to pop way earlier than on dental school. But the cool thing in regards to this one is who was left at the end? Short King number one. Now, let me also say this. Now, this goes to all of my short kings that are out there right now. This brother came out here with, not only was he younger than her, all right, shorter than her, but was the most confident, was not going to take no for an answer, super charismatic, super jovial. I mean, the brother just has so much swag. He was absolutely killing it. For all my short kings out there, I know that it's difficult, especially when your competition is taller, but this brother absolutely won her over, proved that he was the best option for her, and by the end of it, she was like a giggling little schoolgirl. I think this is going to be a dope dynamic and connection, and it actually made me think, I wonder if Pop the Balloon Netflix is going to be doing like a review show, right? Like a reunion show at the end of this. But this marked, from a short king, the first match ever in Netflix Pop the Balloon history. So they got it popping, all right? Now for the third and final contestant. Yeah, there was only 3 ladies, which is interesting because this show is actually longer than the last show, and I think the last show had like 5 contestants. But the interesting thing about this one is similar to episode 1 is that when she came out, she recognized Tyrone over here. So they knew each other. But what's interesting is she didn't immediately go over and pop his balloon, nor did he pop his own balloon. I forgot her name, by the way, but she kind of looked like Tiana Trump to me, so we're gonna call her Tiana for the rest of this. I mean, shit, this is Tiana Trump right here. Am I bugging? No chat. I mean, damn near twins and shit. Now, Flight School over here popped immediately because he correctly assessed that there was some type of dynamic immediately going on between the two that knew each other. But everybody else stayed into the game. Oh, I don't know what happened here. Marco over here. Where'd he go? There we go. This guy to the right. There he is right here. He wasn't in the show at all. He just came out of nowhere. They didn't introduce him. They didn't ask him any questions. But brother just walked in from outside and just walked up on stage like, oh, they picking women over here? Okay, yeah, I'll just stand up on here. Now, he popped very early as well because he answered a question and Tiana looked at him like he was crazy and he was just like, pop. So anyway, they started to drop like flies one after the other, and then there was 2. It came down to Chico No Barge and Tyrone himself. And based off of her body language alone, I didn't know who she was going to pick. And I thought it was an interesting monkey wrench that they already met. They already knew each other. But it came down to 2. Look at my man Marco over here, surprised that she inevitably picked Cinco, aka Tyrone, the smooth brother, all right? And then they walked off happily ever after, and then that was it. So 2 matches on a show. Now, this is after coming off of episode 1. There was no matches. Shit was everywhere. Lack structure, too noisy. Host was doing too much. And now I think that we have a show. And I'm happy that we have a show. I'm happy that they took a week to really sit back and learn from what people were saying would improve the show. Shows that they are listening to us. Shout out to Arlette and BM. Hopefully they had a large hand in the improvement of the product of the show. Guys, go off and watch it. All right. I think this one is definitely watchable. I was telling y'all to watch episode 1, but I would say definitely just skip to episode 2 unless you want to see the train wreck within episode 1. But all right, guys, if you watched it, write me your comments down below. I want to know what you guys think about this episode. Do you agree with me? Do you think that it's way better, much better product? Are you going to start using your Thursday nights in order to watch the show? Let me know in the comment box down below, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber screaming period and yes. You a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up by a high value man.